Welcome to the Sales Lead Dog Podcast, hosted by CRM technology and sales process expert Christopher Smith, talking with sales leaders that have separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Listen to find out how the best of the best achieve success with their team and CRM technology. And remember, unless you are the lead dog, the view never changes.
Welcome to Sales Lead Dog. I am very, very excited for today's episode. I have one of my favorite guests coming on for his third time, Mark Schaefer. Mark, welcome to Sales Lead Dog.
I'm delighted to be here. It's always great. You're one of the most prepared interviewers ever, so this is going to be fun.
Excellent. Thank you. So let's jump right in. The book, How AI Changes Your Customers. And I'm going to jump right out with my endorsement. If, listener of this shows, we're targeting sales leaders across the country, around the world. I'm telling you right now, this book is a must read for you. For not only for you, for your marketing team, really, I think your entire sales team, your marketing team should be reading this book. It's that important. It's that impactful. Which is a pretty bold statement, but I think as you listen to this episode, we talk about this topic, I think you'll understand why I'm making that proclamation. So Mark, let's just jump right in. This is your 12th book. What was the inspiration for the book?
Well, I sort of had this opportunity drop in my lap. Earlier this year, I was part of a research project that gathered together 300 futurists from around the world. I think, as I said in the book, I think they probably had 299 and they needed one more to make a round number. So they found me. But I was very honored and humbled to be part of this. I mean, just Ray Wang and Gerd Leonard and some of the greatest futurists in the world were part of this project. And the question we were asked to answer was, how will AI change humanity by 2035? Now, as you can imagine, there were a lot of disparate opinions, but there was consensus on some pretty big ideas. And we live in a world where there's no consensus around AI. Even the tech elite in Silicon Valley really don't know what's going to be happening next. So this was really a special opportunity. So I went to the researchers. I said, I think this is amazing. Can I turn these ideas into a book? And they said, not only do you have our permission, we are jealous that we didn't have the idea. And so it was just a great opportunity to tap into some great thought leaders on something profound, something timely, something really critical to sales and marketing leaders of our time.
Yeah, that's all we talk about these days. When I'm talking with people about, because we do CRM, and it's
Sure.
all about the customer, first word in CRM. Everybody wants to know and talk about AI, but the reality is very few people understand it. Very few people even have a slight grasp of what direction is this going to be taking them over the
Mhm.
next few years.
Yeah.
And that's why I think this book is so important and so topical, because it's really what you dive into in
And
this book. And
yeah, it's an
there's no fluff.
unusual. Yeah, well, that's my style. I mean, I'm not going to ever waste people's time with fluff, but
Yeah.
the thing that's compelling to me about this is everyone's, like you said, everyone's talking about AI and prompting and, custom GPTs, and that's all important. But nobody has been talking about how AI is literally rewiring our brains,
Yeah.
rewiring consumer behavior. And now that I wrote the book, it's like I'm like hypersensitive. This is happening now. If you look at the news headlines, you look at what psychologists are saying, you hear what's percolating up from Gen Z young people who are maybe overusing AI. I mean, this is right in front of us, and so we need to elevate this as an issue.
Oh, 100%. It's I talk about this a lot. We've done numerous episodes of Sales Lead Dog around AI. And the one message that I am stressing when I talk to people is it is happening now and it's
Mm,
happening at a pace we've never seen
yeah,
before in technology. The pace of change is astounding.
yeah, yeah. I was listening to a podcast yesterday where they were emphasizing this, and they said, it was funny that just like, 3 years ago, they were saying some of the things that are happening today were impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah. I work very tightly with Microsoft, with their product teams, and because of the nature of my work, Microsoft, you know, one of the most important technology companies ever,
Yeah,
is all in on AI. They
yeah.
basically have strategically shifted their every developer they possibly can get into AI development, anything
Mm,
connected to AI.
yeah,
That I'm telling people that or sharing that to let people understand the focus with all the largest companies out there. Microsoft's not the only one.
yeah,
Every one of them know, look, if we don't get on board with this and in a major, major way, we're going to get crushed.
yeah.
And so the reason why I bring it up, if you're a small business or smaller business, you're not Microsoft, you better understand that and begin figuring this AI out, this AI topic thing out.
Yeah, in fact, I think in some ways, Chris, there's a bigger opportunity there because so many small to medium-sized businesses, they really don't understand what's happening or how fast this is happening. So, I mean, if you get the edge, and one of the things I talked about in the book is, look, for decades now, we've been working on a lot of these traditional SEO tactics and content marketing tactics. And a lot of that strategy is some of it still works with AI, but some of it is going out the window.
Right.
And if you really understand, how this works, I mean, the window is going to be closing because AI is going to be a significant referral engine. It already is. And it
Yes.
doesn't give you 10 links to choose from. It gives you the answer. And
Yes.
so the idea that, I mean, this is, I think, one of the profound ideas in the book is that AI is becoming the decision maker for our
Yes.
customers in many respects. It's becoming ubiquitous, it's becoming trusted, it's
Yes.
becoming effective. And I mean, even my own experience, I don't know, how you're using it, but I mean, I use it to make decisions a lot.
Oh, yeah. I'll give you a really practical example.
Yeah,
I decided to take my daughter, I told her, hey, we'll go to Europe. You pick any country you want. She finished grad school. I'm like, we're going to go to Europe. You pick whatever country you want to go to.
yeah.
And she selected Switzerland. I don't know anything about Switzerland. I went into ChatGTP and said, hey, I'm flying in to
Yeah,
this city on this date, and we're
yeah,
leaving from this city on this date.
yeah.
Give me an itinerary, and I gave it all the extra prompts and all that. Give me an itinerary that optimizes our experience with, I want to go, I want to avoid the touristy things. I want to go more to lesser known places, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It came up with an incredible itinerary.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And,
perfect.
and done. I was
That's the
done.
that's the example I used in the book. It processed a whole trip to France to me for me, including the metro stops,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
how to get to the metro station, and the best times to visit. Now, there is something interesting though that I talk about in the book, is that number one, I sort of use this outline, but not completely. And there's an interesting implication for sales here. Number one, there were a few places I wanted to go because this was a place or a brand that I loved
Yeah.
because I had an emotional connection to it.
Yep.
And I one of the gifts of COVID to me is I now have to eat gluten free. I have celiac disease, right? So I had to find gluten free restaurants. Well, one of my friends that lives in France said, "Hey, if you're going to Paris, I saw you're going to Paris, you've got to visit this bakery. They have the most amazing things." So I went. And so a couple key ideas here is that, yeah, we're going to look at AI to make suggestions.
Yeah.
We're going to consider them, but branding is more important than ever. This is
Yes.
one of the overrides I talk about in the book. If there's a place or a product or a person that you love, that is going to override whatever AI says. And my friend Amina in France, she recommended this cafe, word of mouth marketing.
Yes.
I will consider AI. I will act on what a human says. And so I went to this cafe. Did they win the SEO battle? No. Did they win the AI battle? No. But they are in the hearts and minds of people that have to eat gluten free. And I went to that cafe more than once.
Yeah. I love that story in the book.
Hey, we're taking a quick break to thank you for listening to and supporting the Sales Lead Dog podcast. I want to take a moment and tell you about my book, CRM Shouldn't Suck. If your CRM feels more like a black hole for data than something that actually helps your team sell, you're not alone. The book breaks down why CRMs fail for so many businesses and what you can do about it. No fluff, just real strategies that work. So go to crmshouldn'tsuck.com to order your free copy right now. That's right, we're giving it away. And while you're there, take 2 minutes to check out the CRM Impact Score. It's a quick diagnostic that shows you how your CRM is really performing, where it's helping you and where it's hurting you. You'll get a personalized report with clear, actionable next steps you can start right away to maximize your CRM investment. We've also got blogs, videos, and a bunch of other resources to help you finally get the results you were promised when you bought your CRM. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes of Sales Lead Dog. Okay, let's get back to this episode of the Sales Lead Dog podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read a quote that aligns with what we're talking about now from the book. How do we connect with customers when thinking becomes optional? Because AI, like we're saying, it's delivering the decision to you.
Yeah.
And I trust it. I'm going to run with that. So how do I engage with customers when AI is doing my thinking?
Yeah. Well, first of all, there are sort of some tactical things, some new rules of the playbook that we're going to have to consider. And this is evolving. But I think I got it right in the book in terms of some of the tactical, practical things.
Yep.
And so let me highlight 2 things that I think are different. Number one, AI doesn't care about backlinks. All right. Now, this has been a big part of our marketing strategy,
Yep.
content marketing for a long, long time. AI doesn't really care about backlinks, but it does care about validation. So if people out there, if publications out there are talking about you, and I think, let's say, look, me being on your podcast somewhere, somehow is going to be validation for AI because this is a great podcast. It has it's distinguished, and you have me on here, and so my name is being associated with this. So I think in a way, Chris, this is like a golden age for public relations. That this external validation is more important than backlinks. Item number 2. I have been the greatest proponent of creating content for humans. The subtitle of my Marketing Rebellion book, you had me on your show for that book. The most human company wins. I believe that with every fiber in my body. And even in the SEO game, how does Google look at what is excellent content? Right in their guidelines, they talk about this is content that is written with the best standards and the best quality and human effort for other humans. AI doesn't care.
Right.
AI just doesn't care. It doesn't get bored. It doesn't get impressed. It doesn't, say, oh my gosh, that was a well-written sentence. It just needs data.
Yep.
It just needs data, data, data. And so it loves things like FAQs. And right now, I think video and in some ways audio works against you if you don't have a transcript. Because again, it's coming in there, it's looking for words. And one of the things that AI came out with, OpenAI came out with, is they said, video is hard. Audio is hard because there's inflections that a bot doesn't understand. There's body language. There's facial expressions that a bot doesn't understand, but a bot can get the words. So this is kind of different
Yeah.
in terms of what the priorities are going to be. So that's two ideas from the book that are sort of practical and tactical. And another one, I just want to come back to what we were talking about with the travel example,
Yeah.
that brand winning the heart and mind of your consumer is more important than ever. So we want them to say, hey, I'm going on a trip to Switzerland with my daughter, but I want to fly Delta.
Yeah.
All right. That's an override.
Yeah.
For whatever AI is going to say. I want to go to Switzerland, but I want to visit this one museum because my friends have talked about it so much. Right. So those are the overrides that we can be working on to win over AI.
Yep. Yeah, you say in the book, long form is the new rebellion. And I love that
Yeah.
because, for years, I think a lot of people, early on, everyone's saying, oh, you got to blogs, post blogs, blogs. That's the future, to get people in your website. Well, when everybody's doing it,
Yeah.
it's just white noise then. It becomes white noise. What do you think is going to be the white noise in the future in terms of AI? Do you have any thoughts around that?
I have a lot of thoughts about that. And I actually published another book earlier this year. I know that sounds
No,
absolutely
go for it.
crazy, right?
You
But
got to read. These are all his books are must read, by the way.
you and I didn't, we didn't have a chance to talk about this other book, but it's called Audacious: How Humans Win in an AI Marketing World. And when I write a book, it's because there's a problem that I'm struggling with.
Yep.
And there's something that everyone's talking about that's keeping them up at night. And I think, another big issue is exactly what you're talking about is the AI slop, right? I mean, 57% of the content on the web has already been created by AI. And look, AI, as I talk about in the new book, is it can be empathetic. It seems like it understands. It can help us create. It can help us brainstorm. What is our role in this? And I think it's an opportunity. I mean, I don't see it as a threat. I see it as an opportunity because the people who do really have the courage to create content from a very human perspective, right? And one of the things I talk about in the book is that I am sure that art will persist,
Mhm.
right? So I mean, there's computers out there's algorithms out there that are saying, oh, I'll create a song in the style of, let's say, Bruce Springsteen or the Rolling Stones. And that might be sort of interesting. It might be sort of entertaining to hear something like that. But I'm not going to go to a concert to listen to AI.
No.
I'm not going to buy something from AI. I want to hear that new record from Springsteen or the Rolling Stones, and I'm going to listen to it over and over again. It's going to be on my playlist, and I'm going to pay good money to go see them in concert. Now, what does it have to do with marketing? Everything. Because art is an interpretation of the human experience. It's coming from something deep inside. No matter what AI does, we will always value our favorite artist, our favorite musician, our favorite author. We'll be excited when that new book comes out. And in the future, and even now, our marketing has to begin to approach this level of art because AI is competent. AI can do competent,
Yeah.
but competent is ignorable. Competent is vulnerable. The bots can do that, but we still own the crazy.
Yeah.
We still own that human special spark that only comes from, my experience, from explaining this is what this means to me. This is a mistake I made, and I don't want you to make it. This is something that brought me joy. I want you to feel this joy. This is a concern I have about AI. This is how I used it to schedule my trip to France, and this is what went right, and this is what didn't go right. And that takes a human. And so let people use AI. That, it's going to create the slop, right? It's going to create, what something I characterized in 2014 as content shock, kind of became a famous term.
Yep.
And that's bigger than ever. But we still own the crazy. We
Yeah.
still own the human art. And that will persist.
Yep. One thing you talk about in the book is the acceleration of this, what this is going to have for the customer in terms of, and I talk about this a lot with people, is that one thing you have to understand, even if you're not going to use AI, if you're not using AI in your business, your customers are. They're using it to do their research, to figure out what should I be doing to solve this problem in my business. And I see that as both a good thing and a bad thing. Good meaning that, hey, they're becoming educated, so I have to do less education to get them through their process. But the downside of that is, how do I combat bad information or misinformation or miseducation? So in some ways it's helping me. Other ways it's going to maybe negatively impact me because now I have to sell against AI. And you touch on that a bit in the book.
Yeah. There's somehow I think I need to bring this. I sort of have this unifying theory of battling AI, but it's not in one book. It's sort of like my last 3 books put together. So it kind of goes like this, and I think I'm right about this.
Yeah.
So what is the human role here? All right. Number 1, and this answers your question directly, personal brand. All right. Look, if you're in sales, AI is going to do its thing. And at the end of the day, maybe AI will even create a contract. But you know what? Contracts don't cover everything. And at the end of the day, it gets down to a relationship, especially in B2B, where, you've got high stakes. So, and look, I grew up, my whole career was B2B sales and marketing, basically. And I know that something's going to happen, something's going to go wrong, and you're going to have to come together as 2 people and figure it out. So trust in a human being, awareness in a human being is more important than ever. Personal branding. Number 2, community. This is something that's uniquely human, is this idea of connecting in community, building trust and relationships in a community, either an offline community or an online community. That is uniquely human. AI can't touch it. AI can't touch personal branding. And then the third part of this is what we just talked about. What I wrote about in the book Audacious is this transcendent content. It's beyond the meh. It's beyond the slop. It's content that people really care about because it's not corporate. It's not branded. It's building trust in a human being. I think those are the three parts of leverage that we have. And for you or anyone listening, if there's a fourth one that I'm missing, I'd really like to know about it because I don't think there is.
Yeah.
I've thought about it a lot in terms of where do we play? Where do we win when AI seemingly can do everything better than us? I think those are the areas we can leverage.
Yeah. That's the part you know, when I have these discussions, I really have a tough time believing that AI is ever going to be able, and God, I hope this is true, ever be able to replace the human element of relationships, of because of, like you're saying, you can't replace the crazy, you know,
Yeah.
the whimsy, the whatever you want to call it. You can mimic it to a degree, but I don't think you can ever fully replace it. And especially when you're trying to do complex deals and things like that. And so, like, I had a conversation with, I was out in Microsoft in Bellevue about a month ago to see, what they're doing with AI. And the reality is, it's going to buy back time for a lot of sellers. So like simple stuff, there's going to be agents that are going to be able to handle the interactions on simple orders. Somebody sends you an email saying, hey, I need an order for XYZ, this might me, whatever. Yeah, AI can totally handle that.
Yeah.
But if you're doing really complex deals, AI is not going to be able to sell those deals,
Yeah.
but it could free me up from, I don't have to spend a bunch of my time on smaller deals that really aren't, like we sell into managed service providers. A lot of their deals are very small deals, and having a human process that order, I've lost money on that because of the amount of what it costs me to process that order. But if I can get an agent to do that for me, now I'm making a profit on every one of my deals. So my sales team can focus on the deals that actually require a human.
Yeah.
That's great, and so that's where I just don't see it totally replacing humans. But if we're leveraging it right and view it as a tool,
Mhm.
not a solution, but it's a tool to help us build a solution, that's my thinking about AI. Am I thinking about it the right way?
No, and actually, I mean, you've got my wheels turning a little bit too, because one of the things I talk about in the book is that we're seeing a trend where people might prefer having a relationship with a bot,
Right.
with an AI, right? And you're seeing this in the news where, teenagers like they're said they might even be falling in love.
Yeah.
There's an example in the book about a young woman where a bot kind of saved her life
Yeah.
because she relied on this bot that she loved when she was having mental health issues, and thankfully, the bot kind of steered her back into humanity. Um, Having a relationship with a bot, the bot never gets tired. The bot never rolls over and goes back to sleep. It doesn't take it. There's no compromise.
Right.
There's no work. So there is going to be this growing trend where people will, and it's already happening, especially with young people. They're creating meaningful, emotional relationships with a non-human.
Yeah.
However, as I look back at my sales career, I was thinking about this as you were
Yeah.
talking. Every significant deal I made was based on a friendship.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Every problem I solved in my career, I mean, I've been in some hard ones. I've been
Yeah.
in some, I had at one point, arguably, it might have been the biggest sales job in 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 the world. I mean, I signed a $5 billion contract. This would have been like 20 years ago when billion still meant something.
Right.
And we would have high stake negotiations, we and then if some problem occurred with a contract that built big, fractions of a cent
Yeah.
meant a lot. And it always got back down to the relationship. It always got back to some friendship. There was a great I was telling my wife about this the other day. I was a young sales guy and I was working with this young purchasing person, and we were both trying to prove ourselves, right?
Right.
And we had this problem. We just couldn't solve the darn thing. So my boss flew in. I was working on the West Coast. We had dinner with her boss. My boss and her boss were old friends. We had been struggling with this problem for months.
Yeah.
We have dinner after, a glass of wine. My boss said, well, we have this issue. You and I, we've known each other a long time. We're not going to let this get in the way of anything. let's just say we do ABC. She said, that sounds great to me. And it was over.
Yeah. 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 Because when it comes, there's always going to be gaps.
Yeah.
And in selling, the only thing that's going to bridge those gaps is trust.
Yeah.
That you can't solve for everything. You can't predict everything.
Yeah.
Bad stuff's going to happen. And that's
Yeah.
where
In
trust
some
comes in.
ways, yeah, yes, sales, it might be one of the safest careers
Yeah. Yeah.
because you still have to have those you just have to.
Yeah. No, exactly. Exactly. So chapter 2, you start out with this statement, the most human company wins. And this is a theme, really, it's been a theme for you for a long time.
Yeah.
And, when I look at this stuff, um, I think a lot about marketers, and people ask me, how do you see AI impacting people? And I'm like, I think marketing is going to get impacted the most, the quickest,
Mm,
because now I've got a tool where I can just generate content from prompts as much as I want.
right.
It's fast, but is it really representing, does it have personality? Is it representing the brand? How do you inject the human element into content that originates from AI?
Yeah. Well, it's the reason I started that chapter with that phrase, and it's a phrase. It's the only I've written I don't know how many tens of thousands of words in my life. That's the only phrase I've ever trademarked. I actually trademarked that because it is such a big part of my brand. But when people are beginning to literally have relationships with AI and fall in love with AI, and what I get into in that chapter is that people are preferring AI for therapy.
Yeah.
There's a story in that chapter about a therapist
Yes.
that preferred AI over therapy. And then so it made me question what really is human here. I mean, what really is human? And then I conclude the chapter by saying yes, absolutely. I conclude the book that way by saying yes, the human company will always win. But it gets down to, in some ways, and this is kind of ironic, it's the messiness, it's the weirdness, and so let's talk about compassion and empathy. So I wrote a book on personal branding called Known. And in the beginning of that book, I talk about the darkest period of my life. And the reason I did that was because that was also at the time I started working on my personal brand. And I didn't want people to read this book and think, listen to this guy. He's already some big shot author. But the reason I started that way was to say, wherever you are in your life, I was below you. I was below zero. It was a literary way of putting my arm around the reader and saying, let's do this together. Let's go. All right. Now, that's probably the most human thing I ever wrote. And it was scary for me to put that in a book.
Yeah.
I put it in and took it out 75 times because I was vulnerable.
Yeah.
But it's that hurt. It's when it's what you know when it feels like to sob in a corner in a dark room.
Yeah.
And to be able to look in someone's eyes and hold their hand and say, I think I know how you feel. It doesn't come from an algorithm. It comes from the mess.
Yeah.
And that's and it doesn't necessarily have to be mad. It could be joyful, it could be confused, it could be whatever. And I think that is a theme, is that being able to have that courage to be vulnerable. I mean, think about this. The most human company wins. All right, that sounds like a good catchphrase. But to be human, how can you be human without being vulnerable? And that's almost completely missing from corporate communications today. So we got a long way to go. And
Yeah.
I think there's a big opportunity there.
Yeah. Yeah. I talk about this almost every episode of Sales Lead Dog when I talk to sales leaders about what makes them a great leader. Vulnerability almost always comes up
Yeah.
because they're like, I have to develop a human connection with my team. They have to trust me.
Hmm.
And the only way I truly can create real deep trust is to be vulnerable with my team, to tell the stories about all the times I've fallen on my face and it hurt, but I
Yeah.
got up and I kept moving forward.
Yeah.
The lessons that I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
That's vulnerability. That's the only way you can express that. And so I think as sales leaders, and marketers, we need to lean into that to establish that connection with our customers.
Yeah. And it's not easy. It's
No,
not, it's not really natural in some
right.
ways. I mean, I think, especially in Western culture, that we might have seen that in the past as, a sign of weakness. I had to learn how to do it. And
Right.
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I grew up in a very stoic family. Big boys don't cry. Don't
Yeah.
show your emotions.
Yeah.
It's nobody's business. And then I come into this kind of a world, and
Yeah.
it's just like, wow. I mean, I was like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
And I really had to grow into it. I had to, and every time I would share something personal, I would be rewarded for it. People would say, "How did you know?" I'm suffering with the same thing. I'm working through the same thing. What you said today was meant so much to me. I thought, oh wow, wow, that's really building a connection with people, and that leads to trust.
Yeah. I wrote 2 words in my notes for my prep for this show. Weaponizing kindness.
Oh, I thought it was going to be good looking or something.
Super handsome.
Ah, damn it! Weaponizing
Weaponizing
kindness.
kindness.
That's a big part of the book. It's
Yeah.
I mean, and I kind of got on my soapbox on that one. Kind of went on a little bit of a rant, because all right, you got me going now. So you know, we every PR, every news story, every effort that's coming out from these AI companies are all saying the same thing. They're saying, oh, this isn't going to replace humans. This is going to, power you. And to some extent, that's true. But here is the hard, cold truth. These companies are spending trillions of dollars to build out these data centers, to have the compute, to have the data, to make, to work toward artificial general intelligence. And the only way the world is going to have the ROI on AI to keep this going is to replace people. So this is a half truth and a half lie. Whatever they say, oh, this is going to propel your creativity. For me, it does, but don't let this be sugar coated. We have to look at what's really happening here. And whenever, if you use ChatGPT, if you're using it well, ChatGPT will always end the answer with, hey, do you want me to do something else with this? Do you want me to turn this into an infographic? Or do you want me,
Yeah.
right? So they want to keep you hooked. They want to keep you addicted. And any kindness, any empathy it's not someone back there saying, oh, we're going to be kind to Mark today. It's like there's a business case. There's a commercial strategy going on here. Kindness is being weaponized. It's not human empathy. It's an algorithm that doesn't give a crap.
Right.
They just want to keep you there. It doesn't give a crap. It doesn't know you. It doesn't care. It's a formula to monetize you. So that's this idea of really weaponizing kindness. It's this veil that it looks like it cares. It's an illusion of empathy, but it's not really empathy. It's a business model.
Yeah. I view AI as a tool.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I have no emotional connection to it at all. And the more and more I talk to people about this, I feel like I'm an outlier. And
Really?
will I be even odder as I get older? You know, because I talked to my son. My son's a senior year studying biochemistry.
Mm.
He's telling me about the impact it's having with this younger generation.
Yeah.
They're leaning heavy on AI. And you
Yeah.
talk about that in your book quite a bit.
Yeah.
How it's potentially dumbing us down, that we're losing the ability to think critically. And my son feels that way as well. Like he's like, oh no, Dad. I ask him, do you use ChatGPT? He's like, no. I want this to come from me. I refuse to use
Yeah.
AI to.
Yeah.
He's like, but I know all kinds of people. They totally do it with AI. They're doing everything with AI. Um, and so to me, that's where I'm like, am I am I thinking about this the wrong way? You know, where I just view it as a tool and I
Yeah.
don't have this emotional connection to AI. And my son, I think, is the same way.
Hmm.
Um, you know, and you talked about a therapist. My daughter's a therapist. She has patients that have AI addictions where
Wow.
that's their emotional connection to the world is AI.
Wow. 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 Yeah. And of course, I mean, I've got examples about that in the book, but
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
hearing it in real life from you is sort of sends a chill down
Yeah.
my spine. You know, here is the biggest thing I learned from writing this book. The deciding factor between a person that becomes abused and addicted in AI with AI, or a person that uses it as a tool to reimagine themselves as bigger and bolder and more impactful and more creative is curiosity. If you're a curious person, AI is just like opens up a new world for you. And as you explore that world, and as you accumulate knowledge, you're becoming a bigger person, a more impactful person. There's this new word I learned when I was writing the book called phoresis. Phoresis is when you integrate the knowledge. So, like your son, he's reading books and he's studying. He's not turning to AI for a quick answer. You can get an answer, but you don't become wise.
Right.
You only become wise by doing the work. So if you're a curious person, you will become wise. You will become bigger and bolder and more impactful. If you turn to AI for a quick fix, just for the answer, you're going to deteriorate into something that's you're not going to be very effective in this world. And it is happening.
Yeah.
I'm hearing this from employers. It's
Yeah.
like, what is happening at our universities? These people are coming out of universities and they don't know anything.
No.
And I think one of the most powerful quotes in the book came from this young woman. I met her at a party and she started telling me how she was using AI. I said, "Hey, can I call you this week? I'm working on this book. I'd like to interview you about how you're using AI." And when I talked to her, she was like panicky because she said, "My first reaction was, I can't answer your question. I have to ask ChatGPT to get the answer for you." And she said, "I'm becoming dumber and I'm worried.
Yeah.
If I give you an answer from ChatGPT, where am I?
Yeah.
Where am I?" That's a big question, isn't it?
It really is. And
Powerful question.
it's a very powerful question. And I see that impacting several areas. Coding. I was just watching a video yesterday of a young guy who he's talking about how to use AI to generate code. And he's like, some people will just use it to write the code and they just take it and they use it. That's it. He's going, but we have a very different approach with our team. We want to learn, like, why did it code it this way? And what can we learn from that So that way I can become better. Like if it's generating stuff and like if I'm having, hey, write me this story in French, but I don't understand French, how is that helping me?
Yeah.
And it's the same way with computer coding, with marketing. If we're using it to generate all our marketing content, but I don't really understand anything that it's producing,
Yeah.
is it any good? How do I know? And so that's where,
I mean,
you know, I think there's a huge amount of potential misuse with AI.
one of the things that's sort of a sign of our times is that in June, Amazon increased the price of their books to authors because they're having paper shortages because people are creating so many books. Amazon now has a limit. You can only publish 3 books a day.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, that's true because of the AI slump.
Right. That's
Now,
exactly what it is.
this gets to the point where I could have used AI to write this book.
Mhm.
I could have had a rough outline and I could have like uploaded the research report and
Yep.
say, write this book for me. But when I write a book, I internalize it.
Yes.
If I used AI to write this book, I wouldn't be able to have this conversation with you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to interpret it. I wouldn't be able to, like you and I were kind of building on ideas. If I just got AI to give me the answer, I wouldn't be able to have that kind of conversation.
Yeah.
I went through the pheresis. I went through the hard work. These are my stories. These are my insights. This is my research. And I'm a better person for it. It's a better book. It's my book. It's a book people can trust because it's not boring. It's not AI
Yeah.
fluff. I'll tell you, see, you got my wheel spinning here. And so I actually had a very difficult conversation with a friend recently. He's a very, very well-known marketing executive, but he's a terrible writer by his own admission. He used AI to write a book. He sent me the book to take a look at it, and it is terrible. It's just terrible. And this guy is so bright and he's
Yeah.
so interesting. I said, this is going to ruin your brand.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said, yeah, okay. You checked the box. You wrote the book, but where are you? You're not here.
Yeah.
And so I mean
That's the difference.
it's the
You just
difference.
nailed it.
Yeah.
It's you said it over and over again. These are my stories.
Yeah.
AI doesn't have stories. It has other people's stories. It doesn't
Yeah.
have its own stories to share. It's never fallen on its face. It doesn't know the pain of falling on your face and those lessons, those hard lessons learned, which builds vulnerability and empathy, true empathy, is that, hey, I've been there and yeah, that sucks. That's really hard. I sat in the corner sobbing uncontrollably,
Yeah.
like AI's never had that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll have to end it there, Mark. The book, How AI Changes Your Customers, it is a must read. I cannot emphasize this more. The
And
timing
it's
is
short.
perfect. It's short. That's the other thing that's really cool. Like, yeah, there's no fluff. You
There's
get
no
right
fluff.
into it.
Yeah.
And it's literally, as I was going through the book, I'm like, I post the notes, highlight that, whatever. Like and finally I'm like, screw this. I'm gonna get a book for everyone on my team
Oh,
because
thanks.
there's so much information in here I want to share. It's just easier for them to read the book and have their own copy.
And one lady said to me, I had to stop reading the book because my highlighter ran out.
I believe it. That's it exactly. There's so much. It's a must read. Mark, thank you so much for
Thank
coming on the
you.
show. It was
Thanks so
absolutely
much.
fantastic
It's an honor
to
to be here. Yeah.
yeah. Mark, if people, you get the books on Amazon, we'll have Mark's website in the show notes. Is there any other information you would like to share with people that might be listening that we can put in our show notes?
Well, no, I mean, if to learn about me, you don't even have to remember my name. You just have to remember Businesses Grow. That's my website, Businesses Grow. You can find my books, my blog, all my social media connections there.
Yep.
And if you read the book, I'd love to hear from you and love to hear your thoughts.
That's awesome. Thank you. If you didn't catch that, don't worry about it. You can catch it in our show notes at impellercrm.com/sales lead dog. We'll get not only this episode, but our 160 plus episodes of Sales Lead Dog. Be sure to check it out. and subscribe. We greatly appreciate you get all our future episodes. Mark, so great seeing you. Thanks again for coming on Sales Lead Dog.
As we end this discussion on Sales Lead Dog, be sure to subscribe to catch all our episodes. On social media, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Watch the videos on YouTube, and you can also find our episodes on our website at impellercrm.com/Sales Lead Dog. Sales Lead Dog is supported by Impeller CRM, delivering objectively better CRM for business, guaranteed.